Okay, everybody, it is 1 o'clock Eastern, so we're going to get started. My name is Claire. I'll be doing proper intros in a second, but I'm just going to talk to you about what to expect on today's call, just while we're waiting for everybody to join the call. So this is a Canny's Office Hours. This is a new, obviously it's not new in the world of SaaS, but we started doing it this year as a way to give access, honestly, to our self-serve customers, to Sarah and Julia. So I'm doing the intros without even knowing it. Anyways, the whole purpose is that you're going to hear about the tips and tricks that our business customers get through having, dedicated customer success manager and bringing it to you so you can apply that in your Canny journey. So the session today is going to be about 35 minutes. There'll be questions and answers at the end. That's usually about 10 minutes, depending on how many questions we have. You can ask questions through the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Sarah and I will endeavor to answer as many as we can. She'll take the technical ones and I might take the easy ones throughout the call. However, if there's some questions that we think everybody would benefit from hearing the answer to, we'll save that and Julia will answer it live at the end. So if you do ask one of those questions, we'll just let you know, like, great question, we're going to save this for later. Yeah, I think that's all I'm supposed to cover. Thank you, Julia. So here we are, intros again. So I'm Claire. I'm the head of ops here at Canny. We have Julia, who's our customer success manager. So she works with all of our big customers to make sure they get the best value out of their Canny subscription. And then we have the wonderful Sarah. Many of you may have met her through Intercom. So if you ever have a juicy technical question, she is the person who solves all the questions. She also did my technical support this morning on something not related to do with Canny. So we love her. So I'm going to hand it over to Julia now. And yeah, I'll see you at the end for Q&A.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Claire. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us today for our office hours. Today, we are discussing how we can collect feedback and how we can start to organize it a little bit more effectively. If you've joined us for previous office hours, the first few slides might seem familiar, but please stick around because there's lots of fun stuff that we haven't discussed before. So today we are going to talk about how we can collect feedback. We'll do a deep dive into Autopilot and some of the AI features that we have here at Canny, some best practices for how you can organize your feedback through different features like tags, post fields, automations. And then we'll talk about how you can create your own view and filter your feedback. Just as a reminder, this is being recorded and we will send the deck after this call as well. So not to worry, we will make sure you have this information. And as Claire mentioned, we do have this Q&A functionality. So please be sure to pop your questions in there and Sarah and Claire will answer as we go along. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's talk about how we can gather feedback in Canny. So there are three main ways that we can collect feedback. That's internally through an integration, externally through the customer-facing portal, and automatically, which is using the Autopilot feature. So looking at internally first, we recommend setting up an integration for your internal team members to seamlessly submit feedback. It's a really quick and easy way for your team to log customer feedback without them having to leave their workflow. We sync with dozens of tools, but one of the fastest ways to get started is syncing with a tool that your support team uses, like Zendesk or Intercom. But zeroing in on Zendesk, just to show you how it works, once the integration is set up, you can click into the Canny widget, which is directly in Zendesk. You can search for the relevant feedback, and then you can add your customer's voice to that particular piece of feedback. And so again, it's just a very simple way for your support team to capture your customers' insights without them leaving their workflow. The second way we can collect feedback is through the external customer-facing portal. So this is a public-facing page where your customers can submit feedback, and also it's a really great way to foster transparency. So how it works is, so here we are in our EcoZoom demo space. And for context, EcoZoom is a eco-friendly transportation app. And you'll notice on this page, there's an area called boards. And boards are basically an easy way to group your feedback into themes. And they also help your end users understand where their feedback should belong. So in this case, I have my boards organized by the features of my product. So let's walk through an experience, what it looks like for the end user to submit feedback. So let's all pretend we are customers of EcoZoom and we want to leave feedback about e-bike parking zones. The first thing we would need to do is choose the right board. So in this case, we're going to choose the transportation board. The second thing we need to do is submit our feedback. So when we click into the transportation board, we will be prompted to a page where we can leave our feedback. And as we start to type in our feedback, add more e-bike parking zones, Canny automatically surfaces matching suggestions, which prevents deduplication, but also allows us to support existing ideas. Number three, if the feedback already exists, you can upvote it. And then this will obviously add our vote, but then also subscribe us to any updates on this particular post as well. If the feedback does not exist, let's say better bike battery is our feedback, we can continue typing that in, submit create new post, and that will seamlessly be added into Canny. And finally, we can click into the post to view more information. So we can look at the full description of the request, comments from other users. We can look at any status changes made by the admin team. We can look at the number of votes added here. And so this is helpful for your end users to understand if they're sharing their feedback in the right place. But again, this is a really great way to spark transparency with your customers. Finally, the last way we can collect feedback is automatically through Autopilot. So Autopilot does two main things. Number one, it pulls in feedback from tools you're already using like Intercom, Zendesk, Gong, much more. And it's scanning these platforms to look for any messages that look like product feedback. Number two, it helps with deduplication. So it is identifying common themes within the posts and offering some suggestions on merging. One thing to note is that any Autopilot suggestion appears in your Autopilot tab, which is separate to the feedback tab, which is where all of the manually submitted feedback lives. Autopilot has two modes. Number one is manual mode. So manual mode allows you to review each surface suggestion and allows you to accept or dismiss a suggestion. The second mode is automatic mode. Automatic mode is we will automatically do all of the actions for you, which includes any new feedback suggestions or merge suggestions. And so this is an example of manual mode. So here we can see a thumbs up, thumbs down. So here we have the opportunity to accept the suggestion or we can dismiss it. And you'll see the three little dots as well. And that is giving us the option to add that post to a separate or different post. And this is an example of automated mode. So instead of the thumbs up, thumbs down, we have kind of a log of everything that Autopilot has done. If something doesn't look right, you always have the opportunity to undo the action as well. When you're using automatic mode, you can choose which board the feedback goes into as well. So just another thing to note. So this is what it looks like in our demo space. So we can see here we are connected to 6 different sources, and we can see that 5 pieces of feedback recently came in through Intercom. And so there was no need for us to ask our support team to log this feedback. It was just automatically captured from the conversations they're having with customers. And then this is an example of deduplication. So we can see on the right-hand side, there's a post or a suggestion mentioning Spanish. Another one is asking for a Turkish translation. And so Autopilot's trying to group these two suggestions under the larger or broader suggestion for multi-language support. We recently launched a really cool feature, and I'm excited to share it with you. We just launched a feature called Send to Autopilot. And basically, it makes it really easy for your team to submit feedback into Autopilot. So how it works is you can paste any text into this feature. So text from emails or chats or notes from your meetings, or you can also upload a CSV. And then Autopilot will review the content. And if there's anything that looks like feedback, it will pull it out and add it to your Autopilot queue. And this feature is really useful because it helps you capture and process feedback from sources very quickly. And it's also completely frictionless. So for example, if there's a tool that we don't yet connect with, instead of using an API, you could leverage this feature here and that information will be processed right away. So you can find this new feature on the top right-hand side of your dashboard. Just look out for the little paper plane icon. I also wanted to share a few other AI features that we've launched here at Canny, and one really helpful one is comment summarization. We all know that reading through a long list of comments is super essential, but can be very time consuming. And so comment summarization uses AI to create really short, clear summary summary of what your customers are asking for. And so this helps you organize your feedback faster because you can quickly identify what customers are asking for, identify trends or themes, know which tags you need to apply, how to categorize it accordingly. So in short, you are spending less time reading through the content and reading through your customers' comments and more time going through it and actually actioning it. And so how it works is once your post has 10 or more internal or external comments, we will summarize the comments for you. Sorry, let me say that again. If there's 10 or more comments, internal or external, a summarize button will appear, as you can see on the screen here. When you click on that, then Canny will summarize the comments for you. And then it will just appear at the top of the post. Another really helpful AI feature is Smart Reply. So Smart Reply automatically responds to your users' comments, asking for clarifying questions about the feedback that they've shared. So this is really helpful because it ensures that your end users are feeling seen and heard, but also it helps you gather more information on, what your customers are asking for. So for example, in this photo here, we can see Jerry, the admin, asking for clarification on Pablo's comment. A couple of things to keep in mind with Smart Replies is that you are able to enable it board by board, which is great because then you can kind of have control where you want to use it. Once you enable Smart Replies, it takes about 2 hours for a reply to be generated. You can also choose who is sending out the reply on your admin team. So for example, you can select which admin will send the reply automatically. If you don't want it to look like it's coming from an admin, because we understand this is using AI, what I would recommend doing is create a contributor, which is a free admin license you can have, and then name that contributor something like AI reply. So then your customers know that this is an AI generated response. To create your Smart Replies, just head over to your setting, click on Smart Replies, and then you can enable this board by board. So we walked through a couple of AI functionalities here at Canny, and I just wanted to quickly explain how credits work. If you are on our new pricing, you can disregard these 2 slides because you have unlimited Autopilot credits. If you are on one of our legacy plans, you should know how Autopilot credits work. So each AI feature or functionality uses something called an autopilot credit. Every time you use an autopilot action, it's using one of these autopilot credits. For legacy plans, you get a set number of credits each month. So for example, if you are on our legacy growth plan, you're allocated 500 credits per month, and every month it resets. If for some reason you go over your allocated amount, you can purchase more credits. It's 10 cents per credit. To check which plan you're on, you can head over to your billing page. It will show you which plan you're on, whether you're on our legacy plan, which is what this will apply to you, or if you're on our new plan, and it will also show you how many credits you have. Or you can always reach out to us. And here's just a quick snapshot of how credits work. So feel free to take a screenshot. Again, we will be sending this out after the call as well. Most autopilot actions will use 1 credit. So for example, if you're syncing with Intercom, we are using 1 credit to scan the conversations, regardless of the feedback that we're pulling in. But more information on this on our Knowledge Hub. Again, we will be sending this out afterwards. And if you have any questions on how credits work, please do reach out to our support team. So far we talked about how to collect feedback. We talked a little bit about AI features as well that can help collect feedback and help with your workflow. But let's talk about how we can actually start to organize your feedback more effectively in Canny. So there are a few ways that we can do this. One is through statuses. Two is through tags, through custom form fields, and finally through automations. And each of these features really help you group, filter, and manage your feedback so it's easier for your team to review and act on. Let's talk about statuses. So statuses in Canny are how you show progress on your feedback on your feature requests. They tell your team and your customers where a request stands in its product lifecycle. And statuses helps you organize your work internally, keep your internal roadmaps clear, but also your external roadmaps as well. And it's keeping your customers in the loop. So it's a really important feature that I recommend you check out. So how it works in Canny is you can assign a status to each post. So there's default statuses already that you can leverage, like open, under review, planned. And as you move forward with a feature request, you can update the status as well. And when you update the status, you also have the opportunity to notify everyone who's voted on that particular post that the status has changed. So you can keep everyone in the loop. In your settings, you can also customize your statuses as well to match how your team works. So as mentioned, we do have default statuses like open, under review, etc. But perhaps you might want to create a status that's like needs design review or in beta or shipped. And so you can create whatever status you like. But really, overall, I recommend if you haven't already, checking out statuses because it's a really great way to close the loop with your internal members and also your end users as well. Another great way to organize your work is through tags. Tags are internal labels to help you organize your feedback in Canny. They make it really easy to group your feedback, to track and filter feedback as well. And since tags are really flexible, you can add or remove tags at any time. It's a really great way or lightweight way to keep your team or keep your team's workflow organized. Just a few things to keep in mind is that tags are strictly internal facing. So your end users will not be able to see tags. And so therefore it's a really great way to manage your workflow priorities and not have to worry about your customers seeing anything you're working on. One thing I recommend always is determining how you would like to use tags with your team and making sure everyone's aligned on how tags are being used. And then making sure you're consistent with it as well, because consistency is key. It's harder to identify trends and organize your feedback if you're not using tags every time you're triaging your work. And again, tags work best for short-term or flexible labeling. They're perfect for tracking things like campaigns or beta features or like projects you're working on because they can be removed or added at any time. So here's an example of how easy it is to use a tag. So here we're creating a brand new tag. And then on the left-hand side, we can search for that tag in the feedback view. And then any feedback that has that tag will populate in your feedback view here. If you're still unsure how to use tags, here are a few examples that we see some of our customers using. So one common way is to use tags for temporary projects. So if you are uh, working for a financial company, let's just pretend, you might want to track feedback that relates to like tax season feedback. So you can create a tag called tax season feedback, and then you can easily identify any feedback that relates to that specific area that you're wanting to track. Another great way to organize your work is through post fields. Post fields give your team an extra layer of organization, and you can think of them as like structured pillars in your internal feedback database. So how it works is in Canny, you already have default details like, board, status, owner. But on top of that, you can create your own custom fields as well. So for example, I have a custom field called urgency, which allows me to report on the urgency of this particular post. The great thing about this is that now I can group my roadmap by this custom field that I've just created, or any of the default or custom fields. And so now I'm organizing my roadmap by the urgency. So it's easy to slice and dice my information. And so yeah, post fields are a really great way to keep your feedback view organized, but also keeps your roadmap organized as well. To create a post field, you head over to your settings, and then from there you can choose the type of field that you want to create. So the options include description, number, multi-line text, multi-select, drop-down, single-line text, drop-down. There's so many options. But one thing to note is that if you want to utilize drop-down, which is the most common one, you have up to 25 options. And another really important thing to keep in mind is that you can only group your roadmap when you use a drop-down option. So unfortunately, you can't group your roadmap by multi-select drop-down. It has to be a drop-down specifically. So we discussed tags, we discussed post fields, and sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to determine which way to utilize each. So of course, the world is your oyster and use it however you like to use it. But typically how we recommend and what we suggest is to think about post fields as a way to help you group more structured feedback. So posts are especially useful when you want to use the drop-down option, as mentioned, because it allows you to group items directly in your roadmap. And post fields work best for things that are more permanent. So, for example, you can use a custom post field to identify the ARR impact on a particular post. So you may want to say, is this a high ARR impact, low, medium, etc. And then one thing to keep in mind is that post fields are not searchable in the feedback view. So that's just one thing to keep in mind with post fields. And another thing to keep in mind is that it's not as easy to create them. You have to head over to your settings and then choose the right field for you and then create it. So there is a bit of effort involved with that as well. But the benefit of post fields is that they let you add more detail to a specific post. So for example, you could use the single line text option to add a link to your Notion page, for instance. But overall, post fields are best for consistent, structured, or long-term use. And tags are much more flexible. They're internal labels, so admins can add and remove them at any time. You can easily search or filter tags in the feedback view, which makes them really great for organizing on the fly. And the main difference is that tags cannot be used for grouping in the roadmap. So they're better for ad hoc or temporary needs. Okay, if you have not checked out automations, I really recommend you check it out. It is such a time saver. So automations help keep your workflow organized by doing some of the work for you. So how it works is you set up a rule that starts when a certain thing happens, like when a post has a tag or a custom field or a certain word in it. And when that rule is triggered, it does something for you, like change the status or add a tag or send to a roadmap. And so automations keep things really consistent and also helps you save time by handling some of the repetitive tasks for you. So let's say we want any new feedback from our feedback board that mentions certain words like view, menu, or screen to be added to our Q3 roadmap. So we can set up a rule that says when a new post is created within the feature request board and contains these keywords, then send it to this Q3 roadmap. And that's it. The post will automatically be added to your roadmap, and so your team doesn't manually need to do this. Another important way to keep things organized in Canny is by leveraging the filtering options in your feedback view. So on the left-hand side of your feedback view, you will see different filters that you can apply. by default in Canny, there is the default view, which is all posts over all boards with all statuses. But let's say I'm a part of the bug reports team and I only want to view posts from the bug reports board. And let's say I only want to look at posts within that specific board that has the open status associated. I can set my filters to show only that posts. And then once I apply those filters, two options will appear at the bottom. If you can see at the bottom of the screen here, one is to update the filter view and one is to create your own saved filter view. So I'm going to create my own saved filter view here, call it Julia's view. So then every time I log into Canny, of course, I'll be prompted to the default view, but I can always find my own personal view that I've just created as well. So I can focus on what I need to focus on and not worry about anything else. Another helpful way to organize your feedback is using the sort feedback feature. So here you can sort posts by newest, by oldest, or top feature requests to quickly find what you're looking for. And just a little tip for you, what I would recommend doing is creating your own view, which is what we just looked at. And then from there, you can sort by what's newest. So then you can easily start to triage the latest feedback. So today we've reviewed a couple of features across different plans. If you're interested in learning more, please feel free to check out our pricing page. And if there's anything that our pricing page does not answer, of course, our support team is always happy to help. So please be sure to reach out. But that was our office hours for today. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And we will open it up for questions now. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. So the first question that we have is, can you use Slack as an autopilot source?
You can now, yes. So how it works is once you have the Slack integration set up, if you head over to a little message just to test it out, you'll see the three dots. And from there, you can push to Autopilot. And if we should have an article about that as well, but yes.
I think it was recently updated. Cool. I actually really love this feature because sometimes things come in through channels and maybe even we're talking about it and it's like, that should be a feature. Let's push it to autopilot. So it's been even handy for us.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. Someone just asked, can other people see my custom views when they log in?
They can access it, yes. But again, by default, everyone who logs into the default view. And then you can search, you can go to your saved filter view. But yes, everyone will be able to see that.
And follow-up question for me, because I don't know the answer to this. Is there a limit on how many custom views you can have?
I don't think so, Sarah. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have my own custom view.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, I want unlimited autopilot credits. Don't we all? It's the person said, I'm on growth. Should I move to the pro or core plan? And how do I do that?
Yes, great question. You should absolutely get free credits. So you should be able to do this through your billing page, but if you run into any issues, you can reach out to our support team. Also happy to assist with that too, if you want to talk through some different options. But yes, you should be able to do it through your billing page.
Great. And I guess the other part of the question, well, they're asking what plan they should move to. So they're anonymous. So if they want to reach out, we can definitely help with that. But Julia, it's about the functionality they want, right? The core plan is more like listening, and the pro plan, I guess, is more action orientated through our project management integrations. Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah, exactly, Claire. Yes, that was great.
Great. Here we go. I can host the webinar. Is there anything else you'd add about the difference between the core and the pro plan?
I think another thing too is how many tracked users you will need. Is that another consideration? I think, or do they both come with 100 plus?
Yeah, they both start, I think it's similar.
Yeah,
I guess the admins as well. The core plan is capped at 5 and the pro plan is capped at 10. So sometimes that's one of the make or break things for customers, right?
yes. I would say reach out to our support team and I will get in touch with you and we can chat about it more because I'd love to hear more about your use case and we can talk about the best plan for you.
Great. And I guess just one thing to add on the autopilot tracked users is I think people often get overwhelmed thinking I have X number of customers and they're all going to be tracked users. So I think, as Julia said, I think you said it earlier, but tracked users are just people who give you feedback. So if you have 100 customers and only 10 give you feedback, you only count those 10 tracked users. So but yeah, again, we can help you with that. We have some more questions. I'll stop chatting. Somebody asked, is it possible to merge tags? For example, if I accidentally make a typo while typing in the tag field and create a misspelled duplicate of another tag. Can you merge tags?
Sorry, I don't think you can merge tags, right? But you can always delete. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you cannot merge them right now. If you happen to have lots and lots of different ones that have a wrong tag, we can potentially help you if we reach out on support, do a little bit of migration for you. But as of now, if you delete the tag, it'll tell you how many posts have that tag so that you know how many posts are going to be impacted. And if it's a small number, what you can do is you can go to your feedback view and then you can filter by that incorrect tag post. So type in the tag that you had a spelling mistake on, it'll filter to only the posts that have those tags, and then you could manually apply or even bulk apply. So once you have a filter, you can select all the posts in that view, add a tag, which will add a tag for all of them, add the correct tag, and then go and delete the tag from the tag page. So it's a bit of a manual step, but the bulk actions could help. If you have hundreds and hundreds and you want us to update that, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to sort that out for you.
Great, thank you. And I think we have another question for you, Sarah. The question is, I don't have sources to integrate with Autopilot, but I'd still like to deduplicate the new posts that my users create. Is that possible?
Yeah, so we have deduplication setting that's just specifically for new Canny posts. So if it's on the Autopilot settings page, and it kind of is a toggle, allows you to turn that on. And what will happen there is if any Canny posts get created by a user who's not one of your administrators, it'll run through deduplication. So even if they, when Julia was showing you typing the field, we do show customers other posts that could be a good match. But if they still choose to create a post directly and they don't use one of the existing posts, Autopilot will help flag that there's a duplicate post. And depending on if you're manual or automated format of Autopilot, it'll either surface the recommendation for you or automatically merge the two posts for you. So it's definitely possible to do that. So even if you don't have any sources, I definitely recommend doing that for Autopilot either way, just to make sure that your instance stays clean as you get more feedback coming in.
Great. And as Julia mentioned earlier, we also have that new send to Autopilot feature. So if you have a source and maybe you don't want to ask your customers to go and manually put it on a board, you can, export that from your source or whatever that data looks like, and you can then import it through the new send to Autopilot feature, which I love because sometimes I have things in a spreadsheet. Don't tell everybody I use a spreadsheet once in a while, and I just want to push it to Canny really easily. So that's what I do. Great. Okay. We have no more questions. Yeah, we might call it there. So as we said, we will be sending out this recording and the slides either today or tomorrow. We're pretty prompt usually at doing that. If there's anything that comes up for you afterwards or when you're reviewing the slides, you can email support@canny.io or go to our website, and we have our intercom pop-up where you can chat with our great support team. But thank you so much for your time. We will have another office hours in November, which will be covering a different topic. So if you want to keep learning about how to utilize your Canny account, I guess keep coming back for office hours. We'd love to hear any feedback that you have about how to make this session better. We are a feedback company after all, so please do share that feedback. Julia, Sarah, and I review all of that and try to make the next session always better. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Bye.